Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are continuing our regular MLB baseball betting update show that we do with Doug Upstone every week. Today is June 26th, and right now we're going to take a look at the NL Central. Doug, thanks for being back with us.
Hi, Peter. Glad to be back. The NL Central, the Brewers continue to shine.
Yes.
But other than the Cubs, the other three teams are starting to show some life, and the division race could be interesting as we move along here.
Yeah, for sure. The NL Central, kind of interesting since our last video. I'm going to go over the forecast. You gave 3 forecasts. Not very good, Doug Upstone, but we'll see if you can improve this time. First thing you said continue to bet against the Cubs, and until further notice, I'm always agreeing with that. But they did go 13-12 since our last video, plus 6.9% ROI. So what's up with that? I'm not exactly sure. You said St. Louis will be a play-on team, and they did go 14-12 since the last video. But, they're a big favorite in a lot of games. They were actually negative 2.5% ROI since our last video. And then you said definitely play against Pitt on the road. And Pitt, of course, their offense has really surged recently. They went 11-5 on the road for a positive ROI of 43.3%. But again, earlier in the year, I was fading Pittsburgh. And as soon as their, offense turned a corner, which came after our last video, it was obvious they were going to be a play-on team. And they were plus 21% ROI since our last video. So let's start with Pittsburgh. Do you think that Pittsburgh's winning and cashing ways continue? I think yes. What do you think, Doug?
I think they're just going to be a 500 team, Peter. I mean, they have won 4 of their last 5 series, so that's certainly been, an improvement. But what I look at is that their whole offense is built around Andrew McCutchen, doing the job. And, when you're that dependent upon one player, that, when he has any sort of a slump, and granted, he has not very often this year, Polanco is a nice-looking player,
yeah,
but their starting pitching still is a concern to me.
Is it? I mean, I feel like their lineup, obviously McCutchen is a star, but they got Polanco, they've got a bunch of other guys that are maybe not stars, but definitely solid and can support McCutchen. And their starting pitching, I think they've got some arms in there that are serviceable, maybe not lights out, but serviceable and a little bit under the radar. I'm thinking Pittsburgh's going to continue to be profitable. You disagree?
Yeah. I think this is still basically a 500 team, which they've come up to. I look at their ERA as a whole; it's 13, and their on-base percentage is only 12th in the National League. They do have an opportunity, though, which I will agree with you on this, Peter, is that they have an opportunity to succeed because their next homestand, they're going to play 3 losing clubs in the Mets, Arizona, and Philadelphia. So it does present an opportunity, but in terms of the overview of the team, I don't like it. But to your point, yes, I think there is a possibility for them to be profitable because of the schedule.
Okay, and then let's talk about Milwaukee. Milwaukee overtook San Francisco as the most profitable team in baseball. Milwaukee is plus 15% ROI on the year. It's a big sample size, and that's an awesome return. That, again, is #1 in all of baseball. And since our last video, very solid, plus 13% ROI since our last video. So what do you think? Do you think Milwaukee's profitability continues?
Yeah, I think it'll. I think it'll be a little bit better. I'm not going to say that they're going to stay at that rate. It's interesting when you look at the Brewers. Every time they lose, maybe 2 games in a row, you think, oh boy, here it goes.
Right.
You think, it's finally going to catch up with them. But now that they have Ramirez back in the lineup, 3 through 6, this is a pretty good lineup now.
Mm-hmm.
That they can put out there. They got power, they got speed, and they, as we've talked about many times, Peter, they have 5 solid starters. Their bullpen is solid, if not great. And so you look at them, you say, this is a club that can do some damage. And they continue, and I look at their road record. They're 27-15 plus 14.6 units. Hey, you win on the road, you're a quality team. So I agree. I think there's still something to like about the Brewers going forward. And their next road trip, they're going to go to Toronto and Cincinnati. I think you could look for some profitability there.
And then let's talk about the Cubs. I love betting against the Cubs. And on the year, they have still been a very bad bet. Minus 10.2% ROI overall on the year, which is 5th worst in baseball. But again, since our last video, 13-12 plus 7% ROI. What do you make of the Cubs going forward?
Well, you look at the Cubs, they have 3 starting pitchers with an ERA under 3. Not a lot of teams can say that. But, beyond Starlin Castro and Anthony Rizzo, the offense is a bunch of zeros.
Mm-hmm.
They have nothing else to go with them. So that's really their biggest problem. When you look at this team, their run differential is only minus 13 because they're 15-13 in games decided by 4 or more runs. So on the chance that when they do score, they have an opportunity to win. But as we have seen by their overall record, they don't do that, and chances are they won't. And at least of those pitchers, now by the time our next call comes up on the National League, they might be without Jeff Samardzija and Jason Hamill, which really further decreases their chances. I just don't think you continue to look at this team as a play-on team. If anything, I play against them or pass.
Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with you, Doug. I mean, if you bet against the Cubs, you might lose a little, but you're not going to lose a lot, and you might win a lot, and you're probably going to win a little, in my opinion. All right, other notable trends from the NL Central since our last video: St. Louis 70% unders, and Cincinnati with a plus 18% ROI. They have also gotten healthy, similar to Washington, and have started to win and cash recently. All right, so forecast for the NL Central. What do you have for us, Doug Upstone?
I would say continue to play the Milwaukee Brewers. I think you're not going to make a ton of money, but I think you'll continue to do well. St. Louis and unders still look like good plays, and I think you have to also look at playing against the Chicago Cubs on a regular basis.
So you only have 3 forecasts you want to make for the NL Central: bet on Milwaukee, St. Louis unders, and bet against the Cubs. You don't want to continue to bet on Pittsburgh, though.
No, that's your bet, Peter, not mine.
Okay, that's my bet. Yes, I will include that. All right, thanks so much, Doug Upstone. And now let's move on to the NL West.